Greetings. I'm your host, Glen Alex, and this is the Glen Alex Show, the 2023 Positive Change Podcast Award winner. Each episode of the Glen Alex Show focuses on a different aspect of health because you are whole and all of you matter. And I'm on a mission to help you be joyful, connected, confident, and complete. The life experience I call WELLTH, WELLTH, which is health plus other riches. So take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of The Glen Alex Show. Then drop a like and a comment. Then stay tuned for this impactful episode to enhance your health and well-being.
Where your health matters, set your mind, let it flow. Joyful, connected, confident, complete. Let Glen Alex help you back on your feet. The Glen Alex Show.
Please help me welcome my guest, Gabor Kadas, CEO of Friending Inc. He has the clear mission of addressing the social isolation epidemic, recognizing the crucial role of loneliness in mental well-being and in overall health. The Friending app strives to nurture genuine connections with face-to-face interactions and shared activities as the foundation for lasting friendships. And the Friending app stands out as the sole social media application that verifies its users, ensuring a secure environment and eliminating fake profiles. Gabor, welcome to the Glen Alex Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate this. I think your work in the loneliness field is crucial. It's very crucial. So let's start with you just sharing with us what led you to your work in loneliness.
Yes, basically, together with my partner, who's the CTO, Jolt, in all honesty, he started this a few years back. And because I was enthusiastic about the project and about the whole loneliness epidemic in terms of how to solve it, we decided to join forces as I had the resources to help him to do the development. And basically, together, we have shaped this app to what it is today, where we verify the users and create a safe environment for everybody. And the whole aim is, contradicting as it may sound, is to move you away from the screen and find real persons, real meetings, real fun outside of the screen.
Okay, excellent. What sparked your interest in loneliness, though?
I think possibly my personal background. I was born in Central Europe in Hungary, grew up in London, UK, moved to Canada, and then to the US. So I know what loneliness is from a personal experience.
Okay, so did you find that moving around a lot isolated you a little bit from connecting with other people?
Yes, absolutely. Given that I went to school on a different continent, I worked from home even before COVID. It was very difficult for me to meet up with people. So I truly believe that friending is a lifesaver.
Okay, it sounds like it is. It sounds like it is. Well, in just again on the personal level, how did you handle being lonely from moving so much?
In all honesty, with difficulty, I was trying to find people who have my interest, which is like table tennis, and try to find common ground through people with common interest. And it is difficult because I move around in the US as well, and it's a big country. So I keep meeting different people or trying to meet different people to socialize with.
Okay. Well, other than moving physically, changing geography, what have you found what other factors have you found that contribute to loneliness?
Basically, I would say in the most recent terms, COVID um, actually contributed more because it's not just during the disease when you wouldn't meet with people. Even today, I would say a lot of the workforce has not returned to the regular office environment. So again, they are perhaps less used to than myself to working at home, and they don't know how to cope with not being in a social work environment during the day.
Okay. Okay. And in your work and in putting together the app, have you come across other influences like divorce or separation, or just being left out?
Yes, I think a lot of people are left out, and interestingly enough, your financial situation has a lot to do with it because you're less able to perhaps go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night to the bar or wherever to meet people because you wouldn't have the finances to spend on a pizza or a drink. So the long-term aim of Friending, for example, is to offer the service for absolutely free below a certain income level. As the release version towards the end of the year will have a monthly fee of $5 and an annual fee of $50, and that will be waived for people with the low income bracket, I guess.
That's awesome. That is actually very, very cool. Okay, well, we'll get more into the details of how the friending app works. Just have you, what is your take on being alone versus being lonely?
Uh, it's interesting. I think it starts off by being alone and then it turns into lonely. And if you go further down the road, it may turn into depression. And
Hmm.
interesting, of your psyche has a lot of bad influences on the rest of your body, so to say, from various other diseases which you wouldn't think is related, like diabetes. And basically, a lot of diseases start from your psyche, which was a strange thing to me, and only realized it when I was doing research.
Okay, okay. And so in your research though, what's the difference in loneliness pre-COVID and post-COVID for you?
A lot, because people who work in an office environment before, who always worked in an office environment in their life, suddenly are stuck at home, perhaps in front of a laptop or a screen all day. And instead of real personal interactions, they are stuck in Zoom meetings and don't leave their homes for days, which has a terrible, terrible effect on you.
Okay. And what I did a little research on the numbers, the prevalence of loneliness, and Harvard School of Medicine said that at some point 81% of us experience loneliness, and 73% of us, or of their study, said that people are lonely even with technology.
Yeah, that is, I think technology is a major contribution to loneliness because you think you have friends because you have, I don't know, likes or whatever on Facebook, and you have not met the individuals. In fact, the economy is suffering about $150 billion a year because of how people are depressed or not really up to work, even though they may go into work. And about 16 million people in the US say that they are lonely. So technology, I think, is a major contributor to loneliness. However, the technology used correctly is also the way out.
Okay. And friending is a way out.
Hopefully, yes, because it actually forces you to get on with your life in the real world. You can only become friends if you actually met that individual in real life and your phones are next to each other. So we're trying to force you off the screen and into the real world because people belong to the real world. They don't belong in front of the screen all day.
Okay. Well, that brings up an interesting question for me because there's, AI is on the rise. And so, from my understanding, some of the AI technology is programmed to reflect to you back what you want, think, and need, and not open you really necessarily up to something new. So, if authentic connection is in person, human to human, What's your take on AI becoming friends or creating relationships for people?
Um, AI or the whole technology of internet is, let's say, 20, 30 years old. The human evolution has been programmed to meet with real people because there was no internet, there was no AI. So you may have, quote unquote, a friendly conversation with an AI, but your mind knows it's not a real person, so it's not going to react to the same way. Your body, your psyche is not going to react the same way as if you were having that conversation in a coffee shop, for example, with a real person.
Okay, okay. So other than you mentioned before, and I saw this in my research too, that loneliness does contribute to depression. It also contributes to other um, physical ailments like heart disease and stroke. What tips, do you have any other tips for people who are experiencing loneliness other than that person-to-person interaction?
Think the only way to overcome loneliness is the person-to-person interaction. How you find that is obviously up to you, whether you go out, whether you just walk on the street, or try a more effective way, perhaps using the app. But there's no solution to it. I mean, as I said, the human beings are programmed to be a um, social being. Even in the Stone Age, they were in groups. So from the day one, they were in a social environment, and that cannot be replaced by a screen.
Okay. So this may be a question for you. What is the difference between the friending app and a dating app?
Um, in some form, I think people are less pressured to find friends. And I would venture to say that most, I guess, friending relationship or romantic relationships start with being friends. So there's nothing stopping a relationship turning into more, in terms of not just friends, but a more intimate romantic relationship. But I think the pressure is less because
Okay.
you're not seeking a romantic relationship. Also, there is more common ground because you start off as friends with common activities, and you're not just looking at how the other person looks and behaves, you're looking at the person as a partner in doing something together rather than a romantic partner.
Okay. Okay. No, and when you and I were first spoke, you had mentioned that the friending app requires users to meet someone else in person within 30 days.
Yes, that's
What,
correct.
okay, what happens if they don't meet within that 30 days?
Yes, let me expand on that. Basically,
Okay.
the way friending works is that you can send a few messages between two people to get to know them somewhat. After that, one of you have to send what is called a friend request to the other person. That friend request expires in 30 days, which is not the end of the world because you can resend it.
Okay.
However, basically you need to meet in person to become friends. So you send a friend request, and then basically if you meet in person in 30 days, that friend request automatically turns you and the other person into a friend. So it is important to meet in person. That's the whole crux of the matter in terms of friending.
Okay. Okay. So does the app suggest places to meet, or is it based on their interests, or are there any safety parameters for meeting a stranger in person?
Yes, there are several things that we're trying to do to make it safe as possible. The first one is each user, once we actually launch the app, gets verified. That's why there is a fee for the app by an
Okay.
app called Persona, which is a third-party app that has nothing to do with us. You will need your typically driver's license and a selfie to get verified, so there is no fake profiles. Secondly, once you meet, if you feel uncomfortable in the meeting, you can actually hit the screen of your device 3 times, And what that will do is, depending how you set it up, it could alert the police, it could
Okay.
alert a friend of yours, or could alert somebody in the neighborhood who has the friending app and come and go and help you. So we're trying to emphasize safety because you are meeting a stranger after all, and although he or she has been verified, you don't really know who he or she is.
Okay. That is awesome. I think that's so cool. Okay. Now, as far as verifying, when I read that the friending app actually verifies real people, I I was excited about that because I do have clients who are using some of the dating apps, and there are a lot of fake profiles out there. So what encouraged you to do that part?
Simply because the dating app marketing or scenario, in my mind, is wrong. Because the value of a dating company typically depends on how many users they have. So it is not in their interest to make sure that those users are real. So I don't have any statistics. I don't know if anybody has, but they're definitely not saying how many fake profiles are there on a typical dating app. My guess is from 20 to 40%. And we have a totally different logic. We believe that people will um, come onto friending because they know it's safe. So it may have a slower growth period, but once people realize it's safe, that is when they will start using the app.
Okay. Okay. That sounds, I really do like that piece because safety is important and knowing who you're dealing with is crucial to stay safe. And as I said, there are a lot of fake profiles out there, or people will pretend to be something that they're completely not. So thank you for doing that part as well.
I think it's a necessity in terms of being socially responsible that if you're arranging for somebody to meet in real life, make it as safe as possible. But I haven't answered the previous part of your question in terms of do we suggest anywhere to meet? We technically don't suggest anywhere to meet, but we're assuming it's going to be a coffee shop perhaps. So there is a shop on the app once we launch it that sells coffee just to because you meet in a coffee shop, perhaps it's good for friending. The coffee is also called friending, but the interesting part and the unique part is there is a QR code on the packaging which will allow you to send a message saying a thank you message or send a music or video or whatever you like to the other people who you're sending the coffee to.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. What is your goal? Do you have a number in mind for the number of friendships you create or connect, or what is the ultimate goal of friending?
The ultimate goal of friending basically is to make sure that everybody is happy and found somebody to do activities that they enjoy together. Um, we're looking at, as I said, just 60 million people in the US. If 10% of that actually reaches out to friending, I think it's a good start.
I think it's a great start. Any group activities on friending?
Basically, there's a list of activities that you like called what is called an Are You In card. But if you don't find the specific activity that you do, you can always add a new activity and expand that list. And also, there's a personal wall, I guess, where you can say, hey, I have added that activity. Is anybody interested in rock climbing or whatever that
Okay.
activity happens to be?
Okay. How about you just um, minimize the activities to tennis? Just leave it at only tennis.
Yes, tennis is fine. But as I said, you can name any activity you like. You can mark three or four of them to see who's interested in what you do and move on from there.
Okay. Okay. Is there sometimes feedback is helpful in vetting people? So is there an opportunity, say if I go on the friending app and I meet someone to go to a book club or something, am I able to give feedback on that person if they were real, if they were, etc.?
Yes, currently we are debating that. We're not have a clear consensus of should we or should we not, because you could be biased because you didn't get on with that person. So
Okay.
um, we allow you to give feedback on the app, but I am not sure it's 100% good idea to publicly give feedback. I think our inclination at the moment is to allow feedback, but not being visible to other users. And once we collect perhaps a number of feedback on a person, then we could decide, what to do with that. But I don't think because you were unhappy with a single meeting that should tarnish the individual you have met with.
Right, right. No, that makes sense. And I was actually thinking about feedback just for the friending developers.
Yeah,
I could say, well, this person was 20 minutes late. This person didn't show up at all. This person stuck me with the bill, just so you kind of know what kind of individuals, users you have.
yes, as I said, we would be able to read the feedback, but it will not be visible to
Okay.
other users.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. What else do you want us to know about loneliness and the friending app?
Um, Try to do whatever you can to not to be lonely. And I think the friending app, which is available in the App Store in the iOS or from our website, friending.com, is a great way to start. And please spread the word because it's a new social media app. It's not even launched, it's in beta, but we're hoping to launch it at the end of the year, and we would love to have more and more users. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, if anyone has any questions, can they reach out to you personally?
Yes, they can contact us through the um, website or through the app, and we'll respond.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Now, is there any one takeaway or nugget you want the audience to have?
Basically, try to get out of the situation you're in, and Friending offers a safe, secure environment to meet people in your neighborhood with the same interest.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Gabor, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your work because loneliness is a social epidemic, and the more connected we are individually, I think that will help us create a bigger collective of healthy people. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and I hope I was able to help people.
I, I hope you will be able to help people today and going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you again for tuning in to this episode of the Glen Alex Show. We really hope you learned how loneliness affects mental and overall health and what you can do if you're experiencing loneliness. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode.
Refresh your spirit with a nourishing thought.
Please allow me to leave you with this nourishing thought. Former U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said, while loneliness has the potential to kill, connection has even more potential to heal. We humans have a need to socialize, to relate to other humans on a deep level. Connection. Loneliness is the absence of that connection. Factors influencing loneliness are being excluded, divorce, separation, social isolation, frequent moving, political divide, experiencing yourself as being very different from others and not being seen or heard. Please understand, though, that there is a big difference between being lonely and being alone. In fact, many people do enjoy their alone time, myself included. And it's even possible to be lonely around people, as I did in my first marriage. Loneliness, unfortunately, is on the rise and is associated with higher risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, stroke, depression, anxiety, and premature death. So if you are experiencing loneliness, I strongly encourage you to deepen your connection to yourself. Explore your innate gifts and talents. Identify what you like and love. Then allow that to be the foundation of your connection with others. And that will also help you discern the difference between being alone and being lonely, because meaningful connection is available to you. To learn more about authentic connection, visit glenalex.com and order your copy of my 5-time award-winning book, Living in Total Health. Pre-order your copy of my new book, Living Boundaries, scheduled for release in November. Read my blogs, then book your complimentary consultation with me. Then tune in to the next episode of The Glen Alex Show. And until next time, be well.